Some time back I published the video on the power transformer, again a Thermador electrical manufacturing company out of LA, C-37. Go ahead and get the laminations cleaned up and the bell housing as well. Take it apart and just check all my lead wires coming out of the transformer, just to make sure we don't have anything frayed that needs to be protected. Maybe a coat of paint and get this thing reinstalled on the chassis itself. And just taking note of how the fasteners are placed on the transformer itself. Little 5/16 nut driver. We'll get these removed. I'll bring you guys back. You can see the fastener to the right is out of the top section. Again, it's lengthwise a little shorter than the bottom section. Nice and clean inside. No goo out of the transformer itself, so it looks nice and clean. Does not appear to have overheated at some point in time. And get this section removed. A little fish paper here over the wires themselves. And that looks pretty good as well. I've stressed this numerous times. If you look, you'll see numerous locations where the protection on the conductor itself is eat away. It's always a good idea to inspect those. Again, removing the transformer, I'm sure, may have resulted in some of this, and others I was already suspect of anyway. Just doing a close-up visual. So not in bad shape at all. I think I can clean this up with some silicone tubing and or heat shrink. A couple layers if needed. We'll just kind of unravel these lead wires one at a time and just check them closer all the way back up into the core of the transformer. For those that have followed my channel, I think I'll do this the same as I've done in the past on a couple other transformers. You can see the hole here for the lead wires to come through. Just enough room for all the conductors to make it through. I'll probably go ahead and throw this thing up on the vise and drill it out. Make the hole size a little larger and put one of my larger grommets on if I can, rubber, just to better protect the lead wires. It's pretty tight once you get these things bundled the way they are today. You guys can see the housing itself is really not in bad shape. Very little rust on the housing, but I think I'll go ahead and soak it in some citric acid warm water, and I may put some tape over the Thermador electrical sticker and see if I can actually save that. More rust on this side of the housing itself, as you can see. Inside is clean, and then just give this thing a fresh coat of paint. And again, I'll address the lead wires. They're very, very fragile, so I'm going to do a closer inspection of them again right here at these bend points, just to make certain I don't see anything open that would create some arcing down the road. You guys have seen me do this numerous times. Ratio about 1 teaspoon, 2 cups of water. Seems to provide enough cleansing power to get the rust off. Again, more just a surface rust. Probably won't have to stay in there but just a few hours. Then I'll take one of my Scotch-Brite pads and clean this up. Let me go ahead and get this mixed up. Some warm water. Got the old housing as clean as possible, just using some disinfectant wipes. And what I'm going to try to do is use some shipping tape. Done this on labels before. And go just a little bit wider than the label itself. and cover up this and see if it will stay intact during the painting process as well as the derusting process. We'll see. Okay, I just went to the outside edge. Now I'll just take a razor and try to trim off and leave me just a little margin around the label. I think I've got this trim. Let's see if I can hold the edge here. There we go. And I'll repeat that process for the other side. Actually, I may just let it be. I don't have as large of a margin. Let me just check the end piece here. We'll go ahead and get this soaked in the citric acid. All right, I have it protected again. Sometimes this works, other times water still gets underneath. Time will tell. Let me go ahead and get this thing soaked really well. I could just try to soak the top half, and I'm going to just go ahead and submerge the whole thing. Let me stir up the citric acid mix here just a bit first. By the way, here's the part drilled out, and I've got a grommet over here to the side. I think that will be a good fit as well. Another tip, be sure to save your Miralax stir sticks. They come in handy. We'll let this be for a few hours. Let me get a wire brush. I won't show this. I'm going to go outside and just see if I can clean some of the crud here off of the laminations themselves. I almost forgot the screws and nuts here and washers. Get those in there, let those soak as well. That looks a little better. It is what it is. We'll set this aside. Again, I'll bring you guys back in part 2. We'll let the citric acid and water work, and then again use the Scotch-Brite. And I'll start dressing up the lead wires. I'm not going to add anything to them at this point, probably till I get the transformer reinstalled, and then make the additions as needed. Well, it was late in the day when I was working on the transformer, doing the derusting. Just the next morning after some storms passed through. Let me grab the housing out, take a close look at it. Let me grab my Scotch-Brite pad and see if the surface rust falls off. And you can see that it removed the surface rust, and again the paint itself where it was loose in that area due to the corrosion. So the screw, I've just got it in the drill. I'll turn it on and clean the threads real well to get the remaining rust and oxidation off. And it looks like I got lucky. The tape held up long enough to protect the label. I'll tape that back out again before painting the housing. I still need to wipe down everything real well with mineral spirits, get any grime and grease off, and then when the weather improves, I'll apply a few misty coats of paint. I think I've got some gray paint that's a close match to this. Just enough, I hope, of the Fusion all-in-one with the primer, a matte vintage gray. After wiping the housing down with mineral spirits, the weather today is not adequate to place any paint on here. So I'll bring you guys back in the next couple days with another update. Using some of my frog tape for delicate surfaces, and you can see I've got it taped out. I've already got this side painted. I had just enough paint to get the bell housing painted on the outside covers, brackets back and forth. So that worked out good. Now I've got an empty can of paint. And I'll go ahead and start doing the lead wire dress issues. I'll do that off camera. Again, just using some heat shrink or other material to protect those. Get the grommet back installed here, get the transformer back together and ready to be reinstalled in the receiver. Well, it turned out pretty well around the area I taped out. I believe I have the lead wire issues corrected. Again, I'll extend the leads on the transformer as needed once I reinstall it. But that cleaned up pretty well. Heavy little transformer, that's for sure. As I mentioned before, I'm not really sure this was the original power transformer or not. You can see how this is cut out, kind of ragged for the lead wires to go through. I'm going to clean this up just a bit and expand it before placing the transformer back in. There's the transformer remounted. I got a few scuffs on it, trying to get it back in, but looks much better than it did. Now I'm going to just get everything tied in electrically and start getting the coils back in, the antenna coil, the loudspeaker, the interstage coil. Get ready to fire this thing back up. Making a little hay, getting everything tied back in. I've just got the 5-volt filament tied in on the Type 80. I've got the plates tied in. This is the center tap wire, and this is my primary here and here. Got the 2.5 volt tied into the 2A5 tube. So that's where I'm at. Appreciate you guys watching to this point.